Hola, buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a Eurovision Info, otro día más. Hoy os tenemos una entrevista con Brooke de Malta, una cara muy conocida del MESC para todos. Hi, Brooke. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to Eurovision Info.
Hey.
That we are so happy to finally have you here in the Eurovision Info. Yeah, thank you so much for your time because as we know, like MESC is already undergoing, and you will be preparing your performance, your live performance for semi-final, as we can see in your stories in Instagram.
Yeah.
So, as we know, you are one of the 40 contestants this year. MESC is huge to choose the Maltese entrant for Eurovision 2023. How do you feel when you got chosen for this selection, as you've been absent for a couple of years, since 2018? It was your last try to represent Malta. And what are your expectations for the contest, and what you want to achieve with this song?
Well, to be honest, you know how they always say, like, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Like, and the more it should be easy, actually, it gets much harder. Because the more time passes by, the more like people expect more. You know, you have I become even more of a perfectionist the more time passes by, and I drive myself nuts. But as every year that I've done the Malta Eurovision, this is my fourth year, and I always have like a goal in mind, you know. And like with Golden, it was about passing a message across to all the people who feel that they do not fit in. Unstoppable was for those people who felt like they were giving up. And just because you had a downfall, it doesn't mean that you should quit. Then we had Heart of Gold, where it says, focus on your inner beauty and not on what you're wearing or the outside beauty. This year is more of a personal situation. Checkmate is about a toxic relationship, and it is about those people who are in a situation where they feel voiceless and helpless. And checkmate is when you realize how this person is making you feel, and how this person is literally silencing the voice within you. And it's about being one step ahead of that person who's doing all of this to you. And that is why the connotation with chess and checkmate, because like you are ahead of their game, and you know exactly what to do in order to stop them from playing games with you and your heart, practically. So that is what checkmate is about. It's a very personal matter to me, and obviously I am like really proud that it got me so far as well. We're right now to the quarterfinals, and now very soon to the semifinals, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. The other day, like, you were explaining a little bit how it's gonna work, like to go from the quarterfinals to the semifinals, and then from the semifinals to the finals. So yeah, make sure that you all vote for Brooke on after the last quarterfinal, which is in 2 weeks, I guess, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
then it will be open the voting that night.
Actually, yes, it's on the 27th, I think. 27th.
Yeah. So
27th was the final, yes.
in 10 days, yeah. Okay, yeah, less than 2 weeks.
Uh,
Yes.
Looking forward.
So the voting will be open then, and then from it, like, how you said that, like, around no, more than half will go through the semifinal, and then on the final is around 16, but that nothing is like yet known, right? So yeah. So the song, you said that it's called Checkmate. From listening it to, we can see that it's more deep number than compared to the happy and upbeat songs, and yeah, stronger songs, strong songs as Gold and Unstoppable and the playful Heart of Gold. Which kind of songs do you enjoy the most singing to? Like, because for this one, you said that it's like a more a personal song, so it will be not more difficult for you to perform, but you will need to be more calm and focus more rather than enjoying them. You will enjoy the song, but you will also feel a lot while singing it. So how do you compare this song to the other previous entries?
I think the fact, look, when we were writing Checkmate, I remember I had gone like to a songwriting camp in Sweden, and we sat down and we wrote Checkmate from scratch, and we really enjoyed doing it. And we didn't exactly have Eurovision in mind. It was mentioned, but it was not our goal or priority. Our goal or priority was to write a really good song. So the fact that we didn't have Eurovision in mind, but we think it really fits in within the Eurovision genre of music, we really like got very enthusiastic about it, and I think it's going to be a bit different for me, because it was not written for Eurovision. So I put my heart out on the table. You know, we all got writing the lyrics. We all enjoyed, like, you know, getting to know each other and having maybe heart-to-heart conversations. So it comes from a deeper place than maybe the other songs came from. But nevertheless, I always enjoyed performing in the Maltese Eurovision. So this to me is also like a different experience. As I mentioned, every experience is so completely different than the other. And I think the people that the team that you have and you set up, you know, to go through these roller coaster of emotions is the integral part of the entry, I think.
Yeah, you're right. And what about like how was the songwriting process? Like you said that you didn't write it especially for Eurovision. So as we know, you normally go to Sweden to write music there. And we can spot some known names on the songwriters that they wrote other songs for Eurovision of other years and for Melodifestivalen. So when was the time that you decided, like, okay, I'm gonna submit this to Eurovision? And yeah, how was the process? Like, why do you feel like this song? Because we know that since Heart of Gold until now, you release other songs like Over, for example. What made you decide, like, okay, this is the time to try again with this?
I think it's because we realized, so after we wrote the song, I obviously came back to Malta, and I wanted to, you know, write more songs, maybe to release, you know, and it got to a point where I got like this call saying from one of the songwriters saying, "How about we submit it for Eurovision?" And in my head I was already kind of thinking about it, but and it's mostly because we think that it ticks a lot of boxes, you know, and we believe it's very catchy. We believe it's very fast. So within 30 or 45 seconds that you hear the song, you would have already heard like a verse, a different type of a verse, the pre-chorus and nearly the chorus. So it's like it's quick, and you know, the minute I started like listening to it and hearing Checkmate in the car, for example, you know, when you're just driving and thinking about nothing, and in my head I was thinking, oh my god, I think like it has the ingredients of a really good Eurovision song, you know. Again, it's very subjective. Obviously, I am also a bit biased because it's also my song and it's also my personal experience. But like, and that is when obviously I started involving other people and asking other people what do they think about the song when they first heard it, and we like my team and like especially the songwriting and the producers really believe that this is a very like good Eurovision song, if you know what I mean. Obviously, that doesn't mean the results are going to, you know, reflect that. But I think we are hoping, we are really very working hard. We're keeping very humble, and we'll do our best. And then whatever happens, happens. This is the name of the game, if you know what I mean. It's like it's a gamble. You might win something or you might lose something.
Yeah. True. You never know what's gonna happen, especially in Eurovision. Like it's
Exactly.
very unpredictable. So yeah, as you said, like this song, it really means a lot to you, and you want to spread a message, like you have a deeper message that you want to spread in Malta and in Europe. How do you see yourself on the stage on the both like Malta Eurovision Song Contest and the Eurovision Song Contest? Like you have already like, because the song is like really epic, and you can think about already like a huge like I don't know, I think it's a really good song to make a memorable and a visually arresting performance because of the production, and as you said, like it's very dynamic. So do you have that in mind already? I guess you already prepared it and you already know what you're gonna do, but can you give us a hint about what can we expect from your performances? Because on the other attempt, I really in my opinion, like the staging was like a very important part of your performances, both the lighting, the lights, and your dress and everything. It was like memorable. So we expect another memorable performance from you this time again.
Well, this time it was very hard for us, to plan the staging, because unlike other songs that I had, participated in Eurovision with, Checkmate is, as you said, has like a very big chorus, what the Swedes would like to call an epic chorus. But obviously everything has to fit in within the checkmate, and chess type of element. So we were given a very big canvas, but a limited one as well on what we could do, because obviously everything has to be within the same context, So that's how it was a bit challenging with regarding to stage and the performance. But we are working very, very hard, and we had like 1 week of like ideas, and like with 3 or 4 people that are very like into the whole scene and stuff, and we were like literally brainstorming and jumping off ideas, and we're like, no, yes, no, yes, no,
Yeah.
All I can say is that the song is a very strong song, and we had to do very strong staging to to mirror the same strength, or else it will flop, so
Yeah.
we had to we had to be very creative.
Yeah, true. So, as we know, you already entered several times MESC in 2016 with Golden, where you came second, really close to beat the winner, who was Orozco that year. In 2017 with Unstoppable, and in 2018 with A Heart of Gold. And you also even tried for the junior in 23, right? 2003. So you are very familiar with Eurovision. How do you
Yeah.
think all these attempts to represent your country shape you as an artist until today? And do you think this time you are ready for Eurovision, as you became more familiar with the Eurovision world during these years?
I think there's a very different perception and perspective to what you think Eurovision is. And then, like, for example, right now we are competing in the Maltese Eurovision, and between the Maltese artists and singers, and we're trying, obviously, we all would love to represent our country one day. But then when you actually get to it, no one is actually fully ready for it, as much as we would like, as much as I would like to think I am ready for it. I am pretty sure I'm gonna, like, if I had to one day represent Malta, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I never knew it required so much,
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure you have a lot of
obviously.
I'm sure you have a lot of friends, like because in Malta, I guess it's a small country, so you know most of the participants that went to Eurovision, so they can tell you like what you expect, and yeah, so
And even when people tell you, like, you would think, oh yes, of course, obviously, and like that should be able to handle everything, but then when it gets to it, you realize, oh my God. So I think the most important thing for none of us, none of my, like, not myself or other artists or other contestants, is to take day by day and never, like, not to feel overwhelmed with all the preparations and everything. Like right now, sometimes even preparing for the Maltese semi-finals, you know, like if we had to pass to it for it, it can get very, very overwhelming because there are so many different elements. You know, people expect a show, expect really good staging, you know. So the more time passes by, the challenge is even bigger and bigger and bigger. So obviously, like, the more you enter Eurovision, the harder it gets in reality. So I would rather be a new face, because people have no expectations, and then you can surprise everyone, or people will remember your previous performances. So if they might see me on stage and think, oh my god, I remember what she done with Heart of Gold, or I remember what she done with Unstoppable or Golden. So, you know, every time I enter, I have to kind of beat that and give more, you know. So it's actually it gets very challenging, but I adore Eurovision. I am probably one of the biggest Eurovision fans. Since I don't know how long ago, I was always a big fan of the Maltese Eurovision and the Maltese competition, and then I started becoming a really big enthusiast in the Eurovision, foreign Eurovision, and the big Eurovision, if you know what I mean. And like I always like vote, you know, I do a top 10 or top 5, and you know, pinpoint the winner. And somehow, I don't know how, I've guessed the winner for the last, since 2012 for sure, you know. So
Wow.
I've always guessed the winner. I don't know how. Again, I keep
That's not
saying so,
easy.
but
Yeah, that's not easy. Some years, like you don't know what to expect, like a random like winner, you know. I don't know.
yes, of course. But somehow, again, I don't know how I managed. Like, I have no idea. Especially there were some years where I don't know how I got to that point, but where I actually pinpointed the winners, and I'm like, I was quite shocked and surprised at myself, considering there were obviously some controversial winners as well, like every other competition, and which also makes it fun. So so I'm a big Eurovision fan. So to me, it would mean the absolute world to be able to represent my own country. I think that is insane. Like, just the thought of it makes me so proud and so happy, to be able to represent my country, but more so to be able to like be a contestant in the actual Eurovision and make history by representing my country in such a big competition.
Yeah.
And obviously, hopefully, achieving good results as well for my country.
Of course, yeah. And year after year, like the standard, like the quality of the songs is higher. So it's like also harder, you know, when you enter the competition and you go to the actual Eurovision. It's not easy. Yeah, and I like, especially for example, I'm from Spain, so it's like very different for us. Like before, we were sending whatever song, and now that we are taking it seriously, more seriously, we think like, oh, maybe we're sending the best song ever, but then in the actual Eurovision it doesn't win. So that's very disappointing. But it is what it is. Like as you said, like it's very difficult to predict who's gonna win, and then everything comes to the night, to the performance of the night.
Definitely.
So, and also like where you are placed between which songs, if your song stands out or not, between the others. So yeah. And now talking more about your song, like you said, that is very personal and very yeah, with a deep message. So, and you said like you wrote it in Sweden. So as we know, like Sweden is a very good country in Eurovision, the kings of Eurovision. So you're surrounded by good songwriters and producers for Eurovision songs. When did you start writing the song? Like how long was this, and what inspired you to write the song? Like you said that it was a personal experience, but musically, what are your inspirations when writing music? Where do you take your inspiration?
It's so funny, like that the way I get my inspiration is actually from Spotify, Spotify playlists, and I go into the new music Friday section, you know.
Yeah.
And I love discovering new artists, new music by these new artists. And you know, listening to what's like the fresh new sounds that are like kind of trending, you know, and that always inspires me musically. What obviously we wrote Checkmate in July, where I had gone. I remember, like, I had one of my good friends' wedding, and the next day I had a flight at like at 5 a.m. I had to be at the airport, and like until 3 a.m. I was still at my friend's wedding, you know. So it was a crazy, you know, like I had to go quickly rushing to the airport. No, actually I had to go home quickly, pack everything,
And
fly
go
out there.
Sweden. Yeah.
Crazy. But it was a very nice experience because we had no expectations. And when we wrote, I think on the second day we wrote a very good song, and we thought, oh, the third day there's no way we're going to write an even better song than the second day. And we had zero expectations, we had no pressure, you know. We kind of had nearly given up that we're going to write an even better song. And then somehow, you know, we came up with Checkmate, and we were all like, whoa, we never thought, we didn't think that we're going to write such a good song. Especially after, you know, like we had raised the bar with the second one. We didn't think it's gonna, you know, we're gonna raise it even more. So for us it was like no expectations, let's just enjoy it and then see where this will take us, you know. And we wrote Checkmate. And I remember like listening through it at the studio when we wrote it, when we had all the lyrics down and everything, and I recorded my vocals, and we just sat there like this, you know, and we were like, oh wow, like we're getting goosebumps, you know, because all of a sudden this, like what I had to say, what other people had to say in the songwriting session all came in one place with Checkmate, you know. And when we heard the lyrics, when we heard the production, when we heard the melodies, we were struggling a little bit to write a chorus, and we were stuck on that for like an hour and a half. But when we did actually get down to it and we managed to write our chorus line, like my heart is dripping fire, we were like, yes.
Finally.
And it was, honestly, I think it's the being a part of the songwriting team makes the whole like competition, makes the whole journey from start to finish even more enjoyable, because all of a sudden you're not just singing something that someone has proposed to you, but you actually went to the studio, wrote everything, put your heart out on your lyrics and on your song, and then all of a sudden it comes all together. You listen to it and be like, yes, this is a good song, you know.
Yeah. So your team is both Maltese and Swedish, right? Like it's maybe
Yes, my songwriting team, we have 3 Swedes. So we have Dino, Christian, and Lucas, who are Swedes. And then we have Gerard James Borch, who has represented Malta for the last 7 or 8, like in 7 times, if I'm not mistaken, with his songs. He's mainly a lyricist, and myself, who we were all there in a studio, you know, coming up with melodies, coming up with lyrics, and all vibing off each other.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, now talking more about like after MESC, have you ever, I mean, I guess you dream about being in the Eurovision stage. How do you, will you take the same performance and staging from the Malta Eurovision Song Contest to the bigger stage, or because you will have like a bigger stage and more facilities, are you thinking on would you like to change something, or
I think if I had to get to that stage, I think I will definitely see what worked and what didn't work, or like what gave a big impact. And most, knowing myself, I will probably leave the same staging, but you know, I will upgrade it from there. I don't think I would go into changing it so much, because I genuinely believe in, like, if that is what got me to winning the prize, you know what I mean? And then that worked,
Hmm.
you know. But again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I would love to think that I've already won it and feel
Yeah.
like I've already won it, but we have a lot of work to go. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't even want to think about these things, because I get super excited and super emotional. So
I mean, it's good. It's
um,
manifesting it, you know, you need to manifest it, but yeah, you need to be like
yes. So
the ground.
obviously, but yeah, but like I just like manifest it, but like not into too much detail, because or else that will trigger a lot of emotions and a lot of
True.
kind of good anxiety, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so as we know, and as we talked before, this year, like it's a huge competition, but you are amongst the favorites to win MESC 2023 only by listening to the snippets and finally represent Malta at Eurovision, hopefully. How do you feel having such a great support both in Malta and internationally? Because, for example, I'm from Spain, and in Spain, we always love you, but I feel like your music it really connects with us, and you're one of the favorites every year you enter, and this year is no difference. And what's your relationship with the Euro fans and the contest in general?
So my my relationship with the contestants and the Eurofans, for sure, like I reply to every message I receive. I take, sometimes I get very caught up, with all the preparations that we have, so it takes me a while, but I always try and reply to everyone, and and connect with everyone and communicate with everyone. And to be honest, receiving such good feedback, amazing actually feedback, when the 30 secondaries were launched. I was literally, like, I had, imagine, like, it was around Christmas time, right? So, my mom loves Christmas, so we had people, she invited her friends around, and it's very rude to stay on your mobile, like, messaging or something. So I left my phone on the side, and my phone started going. I'm like, what happened, And then I realized that my best friends and some of my like team and were all messaging me, telling me, "Oh my God, they just released the 30 secondaries," because we weren't sure when that was gonna be.
Yeah, it was very sudden.
Um,
Like we weren't expecting it, because in other countries, like tomorrow, at least they say like it's gonna happen this day at this time. But for Malta, it was like 40, boom.
Boom. Yeah, exactly. So imagine, even for us, it was a surprise, and we were, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm like, oh my God, like, the songs were released, and within 5 minutes I started receiving messages from different people, from some of my friends, some people that I don't know in Malta, some people, some fans from overseas, international, like, blogs were also mentioning me, or like, or even like putting their YouTube reaction to all of their songs, and it was absolutely overwhelming, because I had no idea that just by hearing the 30 seconds, I was going to receive such positive feedback. So I am very grateful for that. And hopefully like, when now in the quarterfinal, when everyone gets to hear the full song, um, I will get the same feedback, and people hopefully won't feel disappointed when they hear the full song, and it will reach everyone's expectations, and or even exceed their expectations. Um, and to be honest, like, I'm loving, and like, texting back or replying to the fans messages. And there was a time where I had some Spanish fans who messaged on Twitter, like, retweeted, I mean, replied to my tweet on Twitter, and obviously, like, they wrote something in Spanish, which I have no idea what they wrote, because I'm not, like, I know Italian, but I don't know Spanish, right? But I just couldn't understand what they were saying. But I had to, like, Google Translate it, and then I replied to them with Google Translate, saying, saying, hi everyone, like I don't know how to speak Spanish, but that's what Google Translate is for. And thank you for your nice feedback. And I hope one day I will get to learn Spanish, you know, and it's true, like I would love to be able to be like, you know, speaking Espanol.
Yes, I mean
But
it's very similar to Italian. Like for me, it's the same. Like I understand Italian, I can speak it a little bit, but I cannot fully. Like I'm not fluent in Italian at all. But it's easy, I think, like for Italians and Spanish to speak the other language. But yeah, next time if you want to reply in Spanish, instead of using Google Translator, just ask me because Google Translator sometimes is not good. And especially because I'm sure like Eurofans and this tweet was like using some kind of slang or something like weird word, like in good words, but you know, like maybe you translate it in the translator it's gonna be a little bit weird.
oh yeah, of course.
But
um,
I can
no,
translate it
no,
in
for
English
sure.
to you, and then you can tell me in English, and then I can tell you what to write in Spanish.
Hopefully, like whatever I wrote on Twitter wasn't anything like bad, like
I'm
because
sure.
I use Google Translate and I have no idea, but I actually mentioned the fact that I'm using Google Translate, so maybe I'm excused about that.
No, yeah, don't worry. So yeah, and now talking about your competitors in MESC, like we know that this year is a huge competition, and there are really well-known names that return to MESC. For example, Aidan, which last year came second and was
Yeah.
the favorite to win, or Maxine, which we know that she competed already a couple of times before, and also like in the tops of the people they are like together with you always on the top. How do you feel competing against them this year? And as I remember from we had an interview with Maxine, and she mentioned that you were like her old sister. She felt like you were like her old sister because you studied together music and you know each other since very long time ago. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like a competition, or do you feel more like a contest that you are like all singing your songs to Malta and the world?
So as you mentioned before, Malta is a very small country. So we get to meet a lot of the same people, you know. So for example, whenever I had the opportunity to sing at an event in Malta, most probably you're going to be rubbing shoulders with, you know, other contestants who are now contestants, or previous Eurovision Maltese representatives. So for us, we are all like one big family of like friends. We're constantly joking around. We're constantly, you know, we have a WhatsApp group chat with all the contestants, you know, the quarter finalists. So we are 40 or more people in there. We're constantly joking around. We're constantly trying to, you know, find a date where we can all meet up and, you know, go for drinks or go for dinner all together. So we are literally, I cannot even, it doesn't even cross my mind to say that we are very competitive. Actually, I don't think there is like any people who are feeling that this is a competition and I don't want to speak to this girl or to this man or to this person or to that person. We are actually all supporting each other. We are always there for each other whenever we need to be there for each other, you know. And for sure, um, as Maxine mentioned, I remember Maxine being 5 or 6 years old and singing her first few notes, you know. So I remember Maxine from such a young age. I remember Aiden when he wasn't even known yet, and like I remember like he was uploading videos on Facebook, you know, of him singing Eurovision covers. I also remember, for example, this summer I was attending like a party, you know, and Aiden was there and we were singing two songs together, like, you know, in the crowd, vibing off each other. And I was singing to his songs when he was performing. So we are literally, we are all one big family. And for example, whenever I see Ryan Healy, he's like this really cute teddy bear, and like I'm constantly going up for a hug because he's also very tall, and I need to, like, I don't consider myself short, but he's very tall. So I all the time, like, it's a big bear hug, you know. So we are a very, very, very good team, and it's such a pity that we are going to be gonna go down from 40 to 24, because all 40 of us, we are like really vibing of each other, and we're really enjoying our time together.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you are like very good friends with all of them. And like also like from Malta is a very small country, so I know that you like also are friends with other like contestants from other years, as Destiny, for example, or literally like everybody, Christabel or anything. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I hope to meet you all of you one next time I'm going to Malta. I'm gonna meet with all of you because now I'm like,
For sure, for sure. I
yeah,
will host you. I will host you.
perfect. Yeah, because I was like there like 2018, I think it was, and yeah, I wasn't like I knew some artists on Malta, but not like really, really, really like following all of you. So now I have
I
it.
had I had like the honor of like going to Dubai to perform in the Dubai Expo
Oh,
with
yeah, I
Destiny, and
saw.
we
Yeah,
were sharing a room together, and we really enjoyed it. We were constantly laughing, joking around. So um, we have to work together all through the year, you know, all year round. So we actually like really all of us support each other, and we really like push each other. And if people ask me for my opinion on their songs, I'm gonna like be honest and tell them how I feel about the song or what I think, or you know, we're constantly trying to help each other to improve as well, because we know that it's such a small industry, but it's so like competitive. And the least thing from my end that I would want is that in such a small country like Malta, we also have that competitive
yeah.
like bad vibes, you know. That bad vibes are no vibes.
Yeah. No, true. Especially for such a small country that you need to see them not every day, but like you can bump into them
Exactly.
really easily. It's yeah. And you're like also talented, like for a small country. We were talking about this with Aidan and Maxine also. Like it's a small country, but the talent there is amazing. So,
It's unbelievable. Like, I lived in London for 6 years, and I always used to think, oh my God, Maltese people are so talented.
yeah,
Like, not I met a lot of talented people in London, but um, in Malta, like, we have 10-year-old, 11-year-old, or 9-year-old kids who have an exceptional voice.
yeah. I
And
mean,
like sometimes when I hear the Junior Eurovision, for example, I I remember like I was like, when I was their age, I was probably the worst singer ever. And these 10-year-olds are like mesmerizing everyone with their voice. And everyone's like, it's like, you remember Gaia when she was young, you
I
know,
know.
Destiny.
Yes, yeah.
Destiny is still very young, and she's got an amazing voice. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
wow,
I know,
you
I know.
know.
That that's why Malta is like the one of the best countries at Junior Eurovision. Like, you have Gaia, you have Destiny, like several like really, really good singers. Even these years, Eliana, she was also in the junior a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, yeah, very, very good voices. You're right. So now the last question of our interview, it's about Eurovision in general. You said that you are a really fan of Eurovision. So what's your favorite Maltese song from Eurovision and your favorite song overall, like from other countries in general from Eurovision?
So, I think my favorite Maltese song, like in Eurovision, was Seventh Wonder
Of
by
course.
Ira Los.
Where you should have won that year. I mean, like, Aya is an icon, yeah, la legend.
And the thing is, for me, it's one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song, because it brings so many memories, and like it's so like I feel so nostalgic, because I remember me trying to imitate her like dance moves, and me knowing all the moves when she steps out and when she steps back, and
And with the
when
confetti.
she
Yeah.
pulls in her hands and goes,
Yes.
you know. um,
Iconic.
I was like probably her biggest fan, Ira's biggest fan, and somewhere I have her signature, her autograph. You know, for me, she was like my role model. You know, back then,
Yeah.
even now she is, let alone back then.
Mm.
And yeah, so that is definitely my favorite one because it reminds me of when I was young and how she started off my Eurovision. You know, like she puts me into like the Eurovision vibes. You know,
Yes. Yes.
um, and I think one of my favorite entries, as in one of my Eurovision favorite songs. I think I have many, this is very hard for me to choose from, but I have two, and one of them is Euphoria
Of
by
course.
Loreen, and I also really really love Soldi by Mahmoud.
Yes. Really, really
So,
good.
and
Yeah.
especially like the meaning behind Soldi, and it was written about his father, and you know, so um, it's, I don't know, I love them. I love those songs. But then, for example, I also love Arcade, especially with the new version of Fletcher as well in it, and
Yeah.
you know, like I this it's very hard because there has been some of like some really good, you know, Eurovision songs like Cesar. You
Yes.
know, nobody but you. You know,
You've worked with him, right, or not? You met him? Yeah. I remember.
yeah. I was working with him in a songwriting camp before, and yeah, we became very good friends as well. You know,
Yeah, his
and
voice is amazing. I mean, like he's super talented.
his voice is
Yeah,
whoa.
it's crazy. Yeah. And from last year, for example, which one do you enjoy the most?
From last year, who was there last year? Oh my God, completely blanked. There
No.
was Ukraine one. Ukraine. Who
Right?
came second?
Sunrider, UK. That's why we're coming to London.
Of course. Of
Of
course. You see,
course.
that's what I mean. I completely blanked. Sam Ryder was definitely my favorite last year.
Yeah, he was amazing. I mean, I was obsessed with him before Eurovision because of the TikToks. You know, like he was super famous and his voice is amazing. I met him like twice. I went to his concert once, and then I met him one like surprise performance that he did like in St. Pancras International Station here in that piano you know that there is a piano there.
Yes,
He
yes.
did
Oh
like a
my God.
performance there. He was like, okay, tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm gonna be there performing my new song. I'm like, I need to go. So I went there.
Wow.
He's really, really nice. And
He's 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 like a genuine guy. You could tell, you know, by his character.
yeah, so humble,
His voice is absolutely amazing. I also liked Mahmoud and
Yeah,
Brividi.
Blanco, yes.
Brividi. I loved Brividi. Like it's because
Literally,
I understand
literally brevities, literally, like literally goosebumps.
exactly.
Oh my God.
And it's because like I understand Italian, you know, so for me, like I knew exactly what they were talking about, and it actually gave me goosebumps, you know. So
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also Cornelia Jacobs, Hold Me Closer from Sweden. See, well, I met her also
she's amazing.
the same day
She
as
is
Rider. Oh my God. Live,
Cornelia is absolutely amazing. Her voice is so heartbreaking, if you know what I mean.
yeah. And when you see her live, when you have her like singing it so close to you, you can feel that, like you can feel what she's feeling. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, because from the TV, like yeah, you can tell it, but live, it's like goosebumps, literally, like oh, so
Wow.
yeah. But yeah, okay, so yeah, this is the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Brooke, for your time and
Thank you.
your kindness. It
Thank you
was so
so
nice
much.
chatting to you and going through everything, like all your MESC history and adventure, also through Eurovision in general. And yeah, if you can send a message to our channel, Spain Eurovision Info, and your Spanish fans that we are obsessed with you and we are rooting for you to go to Eurovision finally. That would be so amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Aitor, you have been one of the like biggest supporters throughout the years. So
Mm.
thank you so much for always being like my number one supporter as well.
Yeah, literally.
um, thank you to all the Spanish fans. I'm sorry I don't know how to speak properly your language. I will one day definitely learn. And I am so looking forward to for you all to hear Checkmate and to receive all your messages and all your feedback on it. And I will promise I will reply.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.